ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for the final prediction of UFC 314. Diego Lopes taking on the great Alex Volkanovski. And the co-main event, you have PADDY Pimblett taking on Michael Chandler. Bryce Mitchell takes on Silva. Pitbull taking on Yair Rodriguez. Woo-wee. These are banger fights. I'm gonna have to go with woo-hoo! Ladies and gentlemen, we are back again for another final prediction of UFC 314 live in Miami. To start off this final prediction, we have Yair Rodriguez taking on the newcomer, Patricio Pitbull. Pitbull has been part of Bellator since the infancy of Bellator. He's been a champion at 155, 145. He tried his hand at 135 when he went down to take on Sergio Pettis. He came up short. I think that was just too much weight for the man to cut. But this man has been on a tear in Bellator. He's had amazing fights with the best of the best. And the question is, how would he fare in the UFC division? That's what all the speculation goes around. If you fight outside the UFC, how would they do inside of the UFC octagon? And the biggest question that's going into this is that he is older. Is he past his time? I believe the gentleman's gonna be 38 or 39 years old. But then he's gonna be taking on a very dangerous Yair Rodriguez. Now, Yair Rodriguez has been in title fights, back and forth fights, very dynamic on the feet, spinning kicks, wild kicks all over the fucking place. But Yair does get caught when he's doing those spinning kicks. He's a little bit reckless when he does it, but it's very flashy. The fans love it. So when we look at the keys to victory for both these gentlemen, let's go with Patricio Pitbull. He's been a world champion. He's gonna go out there and get across that void and get past some long ass legs that Yair has. And he's gotta make sure he doesn't make any mistakes when he's trying to get across the void. So one, get across the void safely. Make Yair guess with the feints. So when he feints, Yair throws a kick, boom, you get across the void. Number two, do not be scared to take the fight to the ground, because those legs are super long. You're making guesses of when there's an opportunity to get across the void. When you take him down, you know where he's at, you can pass his guard and look to submit. Now, let us go to Yair Rodriguez. Now, Yair's got to be very smart about how he goes about this, because if he does get reckless with those kicks, one of those big punches could land from Pitbull. And when those punches land, we saw what happened when he got dropped by Alex Volkanovski. He kind of like burns his gas tank, and when he gets hurt, he kind of shells up. So he's gonna be very careful and mindful when he throws those kicks that he's not being reckless. So that's his own key, is don't be reckless with those kicks. Number two, you are longer than Pitbull. When you watch the fight between him versus Sergio Pettis was able to keep him outside the void and just pop him. Pitbull likes to use the thing called borders. I've learned this from Henry Cejudo, is that he sets it to the border and he waits for anything to come across it and he blind fires it, right? So use those long kicks for teeps, high kicks, force him to come across the void, and use that length of yours to pop the jab, the high kicks, the push kicks, and then you can see when a person is trying to come across the void, and you can dictate when he gets in and if he tries to get out. So when it comes down, who do I have winning between Yair Rodriguez taking on Patricio Pitbull? I'm gonna go with Yair Rodriguez. Here's the reason why. I can see Pitbull running to one of those high kicks, spinning kicks, getting caught, and then it's just a downfall from there. He's had troubles with longer guys. You know, the fight when he fought Jeremy Kennedy, he was having a hard time getting to him, and I think Jeremy Kennedy isn't the same type of athlete that Yair Rodriguez is on the feet. So for that, I'm gonna go with Yair Rodriguez. And when you're looking at UFC 314, you got to know that PrizePicks is sponsoring this video. Go to your app store, download PrizePicks, and when you do that, make sure you use my promo code MIGHTY. Play $5 in your lineup, and no matter what happens, you're gonna win $50 no matter what happens in the event. You know me, the Mighty team calls me the less guy, because I know a lot of things can happen in mixed martial arts. So already, I do not think, you know, Alex Volkanovski is going to land 99.5 significant strikes. That is a lot of strikes. It is a 5-round fight. Alex Volkanovski does move left and right, very good in his footwork, but I think it's a very dangerous fight against Diego Lopes. Diego Lopes has power in his hands, and I just don't think Diego Lopes is going to allow him to land pretty much 100 significant strikes. Also, when I look at this, you have Bryce Mitchell on his crusade. Can he exercise the demons? Do you think he's gonna be able to land 23.5 significant strikes? Now, this one's very hard because, you know, Silva could knock him out. 23.5, Bryce Mitchell has never been a power puncher, right? So, you know what? I like more in that one. I think, yeah, I feel comfortable going more. I think he can land 24 significant strikes. And the cool thing about PrizePicks, it's not always about significant strikes. You have fight time. Now, do you think, I like this one right here. Do you think Alex Volkanovski is going to go to 23.5 minutes? I like less on that. I feel those going to be finished. When you look at Alex Volkanovski, he's been finished in his last 2 fights. He's been knocked out both times. So I like less. So boys, lock in your picks at the right place, which is PrizePicks. Now, let us get back to the rest of the final predictions. Okay, now let us go to the Bryce Mitchell has been on a crusade. This man has been powered by God, some people will say.
Artist also weighed in 100.
He is taking on Gene Silva. Now, when you look at Bryce Mitchell, Bryce Mitchell has been sent to the shadow realm by Josh Emmett, but the Lord has, revived him, has risen, and brought this man back on a crusade. That's probably why the fuck he's on this little crusade now. He went to the shadow realm, saw some bad shit. Now he's back again with a different mindset. But let's get back on track. He is in an interesting spot because I feel like he has a lot of people wanted to see him win and wanted to see him lose. And a lot of people don't realize this. Bryce Mitchell has only lost 2 fights in the UFC. He's lost to Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria was able to submit him, and then his other loss was to Josh Emmett, and he took that fight on 2 weeks' notice. So a lot of people don't give Bryce Mitchell a lot of credit, but the guy is actually really good. And he's been struggling with these demons and these succubuses in his dreams, and he feels that Gene Silva is a man that sold his soul to the devil. But let's get to the fight. Now, he's taking on a very explosive, athletic Gene Silva, part of the Fighting Nerds crew. And I believe I saw a stat somewhere that these guys are like 13-0 or 17-0 when it comes to knockouts in the UFC. Now, when you look at the keys to the victory with both gentlemen, I'm gonna start with Gene Silva. Gene Silva is very explosive. He bursts on the scene by just fan favorite knockouts. So for Gene Silva's gotta be very smart about getting across the void and landing that knockout shot. We know Bryce Mitchell can't be knocked out, but he's got to be very cautious about how he does it because Bryce Mitchell can wrestle. Bryce Mitchell can take him down and out-grapple him. That's one of the biggest things that Gene Silva has to look out for, is not being sucked into, oh, he's gonna get closer, I'm gonna hit him, and then boom, takedown happens, and now it's a grappling fest. Number 2, the explosiveness to catch Bryce Mitchell off guard, big shot, and then boom, flying knee, right hand. Be dynamic on the feet. Don't just look for that big knockout shot. Throw some shots, and it's going to create some opening when Bryce Mitchell tries to counter you, and then he's going to be able to look for that knockout shot. So those are the keys to victory for Gene Silva. I think for him, he's got to knock out Bryce Mitchell. Now let us go to Bryce Mitchell. The key to victory for him is do not be afraid to get across the void and take him down. We know this man is very explosive. We know he can do some chaotic shit on the feet, so take him to the ground because we haven't seen him do any arm bars from his back, triangles from his back. We haven't seen any of that type of work from Gene Silva. Number 2, exercise those demons, my friend. Exercise them. If you're able to exercise those demons, the Lord should show you the light, and the Lord's going to guide you to where you need to go. So, who do I have winning in this fight? To be honest with you guys, I'm going to go with fucking Bryce Mitchell because I hope he wins, because I want to see what he's going to say in his post-fight, commentating speech. I know a lot of you guys are like, dude, you can't say that. I can say what the fuck I want. So for that, I'm going to go with Bryce Mitchell. Now, let us get to the co-main event. PADDY Pimblett versus Michael Chandler. Now, this one's a very interesting dynamic of this fight because Michael Chandler, he's a fan favorite. He goes 0 to 1,000 right off the rip. The last time we saw him fight, he was actually kind of pacing himself. We had him on the Mighty Cast. If you guys haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it. And he talked about, he goes, I have all this fighting experience, all of it, but I seem to not use it when I fight. I just go balls to the wall. And I agree with him, right? He has all this fighting experience. He's fought Eddie Alvarez. He's fought the best of the best. He's fought Charles Oliveira. And for some reason, the way he paces himself when he fights, it's almost like he doesn't know how to do that. But then you have on the other side, you have Paddy Pimblett. I'm a big fan of Paddy, and a lot of people dislike Paddy. I don't know why, maybe because of his cockiness, but his cockiness is also another form of confidence. And you look at his fights, he does get hit, but when he gets hit, he is a grappling phenom. Like, he will take a bad shot, throw a triangle, go from triangle to triangle armbar. If he doesn't get that, he'll take your back, submit you. That is where I believe Paddy is his most dangerous. I saw in the comments below, I truly believe if Paddy Pimblett keeps on this tear, works his way up the ranks in the UFC, I truly believe he could be a UFC champion. Do I think he'd beat Islam Makhachev? No, I do not think. But you gotta look, Paddy's only 30 years old, Islam's 33. As time goes on, when Paddy's 33, Islam's gonna be 36. Do you think Islam's gonna still be fighting in mixed martial arts if he goes 3 more years of whooping everybody's ass? The answer is probably no. So you give Paddy enough time to keep on working his way up the ladder and getting better. He's 30 right now. Give him 3 more years, the division's gonna change. But let's get to the keys to victory when it comes to Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. Michael Chandler, I'm gonna go back to when we said him, when I had him on, not last time, but the last time he fought, he has to pace himself. He has to go in there, establish a distance, find the range, find the void, and slowly work on that. Don't just go blasting, 0 to 1,000. I mean, he can, but if we look at the history books, that seems not to play out very well for him. So he's got to be very cautious, use his experience, and establish a fight rhythm going into this fight with Paddy Pimblett. Number 2, use your wrestling. Now, typically when he takes people down, he stays in guard and punches and punches. He ends up punching him in the ear and the back of the head. I don't know how many times he punched Homeboy in the back of the head, but he's got to use the wrestling to get the fight to the ground and then start using jiu-jitsu. Stop punching. You punch the pass and you pass the punch. That's the dynamic he needs to do. Don't just take him down and punch, punch, punch. He's gonna get caught in a triangle and an arm bar. And those are only 2 key to victories I have with him, is that he's got to pace himself and he's also got to be able to use his wrestling to get Paddy off his feet. Paddy is dangerous on the feet because he will exchange and throw blows for blow. Now, let us go to Paddy Pimblett. Now, who do I have? Paddy Pimblett, I think he needs to press the pace. That's number 1. Press the pace to force Michael Chandler to get to that 1,000, because we know it's not sustainable. And when he gets to 1,000, he does make mistakes. You can push Michael Chandler to 1,000 and he's going to think it's okay because he's here to please the fans, right? Like, that's one thing that I would do, is like pop, move, pop, 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 pop. He shoots, defending takedown, knee, right hand, and then he shoots again, flying triangle, submit him. That's how, if I was Paddy Pimblett's coach, I'm like, just press the pace. Force him, don't let him get in this, we don't want him to be regulated. If he's able to regulate his conditioning and his mind and how he goes about his fights, he's more dangerous. But if we get him to unregulate, where he hasn't been able to do that yet, we've seen, then we can find holes where we can take advantage of him. So I would say the number one key of victory is push the pace against Michael Chandler to keep him unregulated in his pace and his style and his mind. The key to victory number 2, when it does get chaotic, keep the hands up, look for the submission, because we know he's gonna try to take you down. If you get to the ground, look for the submission. So who do I have winning between Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett? I know a lot of you guys are gonna probably come at me, I'll be ducking that shit like sticking stones. I'm gonna go with Paddy Pimblett. The reason why is because I feel like Paddy Pimblett is on a tear. When I see from the past Michael Chandler, he has a hard time of regulating his pace, his output, what he's doing. I don't think anything's changed, because I feel he's at a point in his career where he's always in great condition. He's always looking great with the diet. And I think a lot of people, they get stuck on that instead of like, hey guys, I don't need to look like fucking G.I. Joe. I need to make sure, like, when I get taken down, I'm able to get off my back. I'm able to take him down past his guard. I feel like most of his mind is focused on just hard work and ethics and getting there, instead of like, hey, I'm actually gonna study the book. So for that, I'm gonna go with Paddy Pimblett, where Paddy Pimblett, I feel he's more of a student of the game. He'll understand. He gets taken down, like what he did to Bobby Green. When he does people, he's able to finish the fight. So for that, I'm gonna go with Paddy Pimblett. Now, let us get to the main event. I know, boys. It's a long stacked card. Alex Volkanovski taking on Diego Lopes. Let's start with Alex Volkanovski. Alex Volkanovski is one of the longest reigning champions in the 145-pound division. And when you look at Alex Volkanovski, he is on a 2-fight losing streak, coming back-to-back losses from Islam Makhachev and Demetrious, 2 knockout losses. You know, we talked about it on the Mighty Cast, and he understands what he's getting himself into against a dangerous Diego Lopes. And Diego Lopes has very phenomenal grappling, and Alex Volkanovski has survived, you know, some great grapplers, but I feel like Diego Lopes's grappling is a little bit different from those guys. I feel like he actually wrestles up to where those guys tend to stay on their back. So I feel like Diego is a new age of grapplers, where the guys that he's fought in the past are the old age grapplers, where like, oh, I'm gonna stay on my back, I'm fine, where Diego Lopes would be like, oh, I'm not getting anything, I'm gonna push into you and I'm gonna wrestle up and look to take you down. So it'd be very interesting to see if the fight goes to the ground, who is going to be able to prevail there. When you're a champion in mixed martial arts, there's no downtime. Right when you get to the fucking press conference, they're like, oh, hey, great fight. You know, I want to see what's next. You know, you have this guy coming up, da-da-da-da. There's not a time of celebration, a time to smell the roses and sit back and kick your feet up and, you know, think about what you did. I've been there. I've done it 11 fucking times, and it's always one after another, after another, after another. That's the point of mixed martial arts. And I felt like when after his last loss, he took time to figure out who he is. He fell in love with creating skits, Old Man Volk, cooking with Volk, being that stay-at-home father. And now he's coming back into the game refreshed. You know, he has a sense like, hey, after everything's done, I'm going to be okay. So I'm fighting because I'm having fun, and I'm fighting to secure my family's future. So that's a very good thing going into this fight against a very dangerous Diego Lopes. Now, when you look at Diego Lopes, this guy's been on a tear. Very good grappling. His grappling is not talked about enough. He has very good jiu-jitsu, and since he has great jiu-jitsu, he's been focusing on his hands. And when you saw his last fight when he fought Brian Ortega, he did some beautiful combinations, dropped Brian Ortega, kept a good pace, very explosive athlete, very good, well-rounded, and it's going to be a great fight. But let's look at the keys of victory for both these gentlemen. Alex Volkanovski. The one key to victory for him is he's got to keep moving. He cannot get in exchange. He can get in exchange, but we call it a gunfight. When you get in a gunfight with somebody, you just want to make sure you walk away from the gunfight. And meaning that Alex Volkanovski, he is going to look to hit and run. He's going to be doing the inside. He's going to be running. He's going to be looking to land the right hand. But if he gets caught by Diego Lopes by a good shot, Alex Volkanovski could go down. And me and him both agreed on that, right? We both kind of have the same style, is that we want to use our intelligence, our footwork, our well-roundedness in the game of mixed martial arts to keep our opponent guessing. And so for key to victory number one is do not get caught in a gunfight. If you do, get the fuck out and reset yourself and approach it again in a different angle. Number two, keep Diego Lopes always guessing. If you can always keep him guessing, that will help you survive that gunfight if you were to get into a gunfight. You've been there, you've done it before, you fought the best of best, Max Holloway, Islam Makhachev, Korean Zombie, you name it, you've been there before, so use your championship experience. Now, when we go to Diego Lopes, force the gunfight, meaning that we know Alex Volkanovski has been knocked out before, right? By Demetrious, Islam Makhachev. He's been dropped before from Chad Mendes early in his career. So if you take what Demetrious was able to do to Alex Volkanovski, it just keep pressing him on that void, keep pressing on that void and tracking him. Once they got in that gunfight, bullets were flying, and one bullet landed on Alex Volkanovski's chin, and that put him down. So, one, force the gunfight, because I feel your chin's gonna be a lot stronger than his because he's been knocked out and he's also older. Number two, don't get caught up in chasing, right? There's a difference between chasing and stalking. When you chase somebody, you're always trying to get to them. But when you stalk, you say, oh, I'm here. Okay, you're giving them that presence outside the void where it's like, once you make one wrong move, I'm on that ass. Shout out to Aljamain Sterling. So, who do I have winning in the main event? Alex Volkanovski taking on Diego Lopes. Man, this one's hard. This one's very, very, very hard. You know, when I look at it, I feel if it was Alex Volkanovski in the very beginning of his career, I would go with Alex Volkanovski. But Alex Volkanovski's got to be perfect for 25 minutes. He hasn't been a person who goes, bah, one hitter quarter. He hasn't been, boom. You know, I haven't either. You know, I do have knockout power. I've knocked people out before, but we haven't seen that come from Alex Volkanovski. I kind of find it hard to see him outwork a very younger, talented Diego Lopes. I just don't see it. But what I can see happen is that when they get in that gunfight, that exchange, and if Diego Lopes is able to catch him on the chin, you know, especially someone who's been knocked out multiple times, that's a sign that that person's chin is going. And for that, you know, I'm going to have to go with Diego Lopes. Diego Lopes is younger. He might be faster. And me and Alex were on the same page where he's like, I can't get caught. I can't get caught. And when I hear that, I can't get caught, that's 25 minutes he can't get caught. And then, you know, all it takes is 30 seconds, a minute. And I'm not saying Alex Volkanovski can't win this. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when I look at it, when I look at this piece, when I look at what Diego Lopes is able to do, what he's done in the past, I'm going to have to go with Diego Lopes. So, boys, if you guys enjoyed this breakdown of the final predictions, please leave a like, subscribe, and also hit the bell to know when we go live. And let me know in the comment section below, did I get it wrong? And I might have got it wrong, but this is what my gut is telling me, that when I look at the fights on paper and how I think things are going to happen, and, you know, this is how I feel who's going to win these fights. So as always, we will see you guys. Oh, excuse me. Make sure you guys come back here as I will give my instant reaction after the main card. And I want to see, and I like to go through the comments and see all you people bash me and all that stuff. But as long as you guys are engaging with me, that's all I care about. We'll see you guys at the next video.